we need to break down the deepest position in fantasy baseball. But not only is it the deepest position, but it's a position that offers us the top 2 players on the board. Hey Headliner Nation, welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Headliners. Kyle with you again. And in this episode, we're continuing our ranks and analysis of each position for fantasy baseball. And we're going to be going through our outfielders today. Now, I've got the top 30 outfielders for you based on my rankings. But keep in mind, we're giving you these quick hitting videos, so it's not going to be super long. If there's a player that I don't go in depth on, make sure you hit up the comments below. Ask us questions. We can give you your feedback that way as well. We're one of the most interactive sports channels here on YouTube. Feel free to use the comments whenever you can. Also, we would love it if you could subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, and make sure that you like the video. Real quick before I start diving into the players, just a little bit of feedback, kind of draft day nugget here for you. With outfield, there's a strategy that I always like to use, and I'm always trying to take one stud outfielder at the beginning of my draft. Whether you're at the very top and you get a Trout and a Betts, or maybe you get a Yelich or a JD Martinez, Judge or Stanton, it doesn't matter. A lot of players in there. Get a stud outfielder and then spend the rest of your draft waiting on value. Make sure you shore up your other positions first. I always follow that strategy. It's been very helpful for me. Like I said, this is the deepest position in fantasy baseball. You're always going to be able to find outfielders that can help your team. Don't spend a bunch of high draft picks on guys when you could be trying to fill some other positions that aren't nearly as deep. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Like I said, top 30 players. Not going to hit on every single one of them. So if you have questions, ask below. Coming in at number 30, Wil Myers. I go a little bit more in depth with him on our third base show because he also has third base eligibility, and I go a little bit more in depth on what exactly I'm looking for from him there. It's all about his health. At number 29, David Dahl in Colorado. Really like this kid this year. I think he's in for a big year, his first full season, and only 271 plate appearances last year, 16 RBIs, 16 home runs, 5 stolen bases, over 471 career plate appearances, though. If you're taking a little bit larger picture on what he could do over the course of a full season, 23 home runs, 73 RBIs, 72 RBIs, 293 average, 10 stolen bases. Opportunity is absolutely there in Coors Field. He's a guy that is a complete hitter, can offer average, can offer power, and he can swipe you double-digit bags. 29, honestly, I'm being a little bit low with him more than likely. I'm expecting big things from him this year. He might be included in a future sleeper episode. Andrew McCutchen coming in at 28. He's going to have a bounce-back year. We forget that he's 1 year removed from a 30-double, 28-home-run campaign in 2017. His batting average of balls in play last season was a career low at 279, and his walk percentage, even though he struck out a little bit more, his walk percentage was up as well. So there are some really good things to take from that. Andrew McCutchen's going to bounce back. Coming in after that, 27, Michael Conforto from the New York Mets. 26, Yasiel Puig, expecting big things from him. Some nice power numbers out in Cincinnati. 25, Mitch Haniger, impressive breakout season last year. 26 home runs, 93 RBIs. He's going to need some protection from Kyle Seager and newcomer Edwin Encarnacion, though. If he hits it 2 in the order, if he hits it 3 in the order, doesn't really matter. He's going to be around those guys. He's going to need some protection so he can put up some decent numbers like that last year. I will put him just outside the top 20. I'm going to put him at 25. At 24, Nicholas Castellanos. We talked about him already. Make sure you check out one of our other videos on that when we talk about must-haves for the season. We really like him. Or excuse me, not must-haves, but sleepers. A.J. Pollock at 23, new outfielder there for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Can he stay healthy? That's all that matters. If A.J. Pollock can stay healthy, he puts up good numbers. So keep an eye on him. You could end up getting a top 15 potential outfielder, a guy that has top 15 upside, and you could be getting him at a top 25 price. So he could fall in your drafts. Eddie Rosario coming in at 22. Marcell Ozuna at 21. Just imagine Marcell Ozuna hitting in front of Paul Goldschmidt there in St. Louis. He could get back to some of those numbers that he had when he was in Miami, when he was hitting in front of Giancarlo Stanton. So some really nice protection for Ozuna this year could lead to a better campaign than he had the year prior. 20 is 20 is Lorenzo Cain. 19 is Justin Upton. The batting average isn't what it used to be with Justin Upton, but he did have 30 home runs and 85 RBIs. That's a discount. It is current ADP. He typically ADP wise is going to go a lot lower than that. And if you look through his career as well, and this may not be anything at all, but it is definitely a trend I noticed. If you look through his career, his first season with each team that he's had, he hasn't been that good, whether it be Detroit, whether it be the Padres, whether it be Atlanta, whether it be his first year in Arizona. It doesn't matter. Even his first full season with Anaheim last year wasn't great. All of his first seasons with the team are not very good. So maybe he can bounce back a little bit more comfortable this season, and he can have a little bit better year. The batting average could come up a little bit, but hey, give me 30 home runs, 85 RBIs all day at his bargain. At number 18, Whit Merrifield. Talked about him on second base a lot. Tons of upside with stolen bases. Can he continue the average and the power, though? George Springer at 17. Look, when you draft George Springer, you're drafting a name. That's what it seemed like so far. But don't let last season get you down. He had a career year in 2017, World Series MVP. Just didn't have a great year last year. Look for him to bounce back. I think that he's got at least top 15 upside, if not top 10 upside if he's healthy and he puts together a full season like he did a couple of years ago. He could be a lot better than what he was. Coming in at number 16, Rhys Hoskins out there in Philadelphia. As of this recording, still no word on Bryce Harper. We'll talk about him a little bit, but Rhys Hoskins, even though he's going to play first base, he has outfield eligibility as well. Chris Davis at 15, tons of power upside. So if you draft consistency, hits, average, things like that at the beginning, Chris Davis is a guy that you can grab with good power upside. Starling Marte comes in at 14. After, he's fallen out of some people's ranks after he got busted for PEDs after he got busted for PEDs 2 seasons ago, excuse me. But he had a very under the radar 2018, a 277 average, 20 home runs, 33 stolen bases, offers you really nice value in 5x5 leagues. Keep an eye on him. If he starts to slip, he's a guy that also has a lot of upside. Coming in at 13, Juan Soto. Can he replicate last year? Can he do it again? An extremely talented hitter, but very young as well. We'll see what he can do this year too. Cody Bellinger, not Bellinger. I got you out there, guys. Cody Bellinger coming in at 12, a bunch of power upside. I've talked about him in our must-own videos. I like him a lot this year. Check out must-owns and you'll see why. Charlie Blackmon coming in at 11. I'm a little bit scared off by Blackmon just because there's always a possibility that he could be moved on from, getting a little bit on the older side. Colorado does have some exciting prospects, some guys that, could make a little bit larger impact. We'll see what happens. Colorado in a position to compete this year, though. So if they compete, he won't be traded. But I am worried come trade deadline, it could potentially happen. Bryce Harper, I'm going to put at 10. Again, as of this recording, we don't know where he's going to sign. Philadelphia still seems to be the front runner. I don't mind him there at all. We'll see what happens, though. I'm going to keep him here at 10, and we'll talk about it more after he signs. Ronald Acuna. Again, got you out there if you know what we're talking about. Ronald Acuna coming in at number 9. I don't love his current ADP. You have to take him as basically a first round, early second round pick. I don't love that. I am going to slide him back a little bit. Another year up in the majors. Is there going to be a little bit of an adjustment period? But he's got a great lineup around him. They're saying he might end up hitting leadoff instead of 3. I think I'd rather prefer him in the leadoff spot as of right now. At number 8, Andrew Benintendi is up. I love Andrew Benintendi. I really do. He's a complete player. 168 hits for a 290 batting average last year, but he offers you multiple categories. 21 stolen bases, 16 home runs, 87 RBIs. I think we see the stolen bases continue to climb a little bit. I think you can get a little bit closer to 25 this year, and I think we see those home runs creep closer, back to that 20 threshold, if not a little bit higher. So only going to be 24 this year, though. Still extremely young. Giancarlo Stanton coming in at number 7. Look, Giancarlo Stanton, I told you all last year, be careful with him. He's going to have a good season, but it's going to be a very slow start trying to adjust to New York. 59 home runs and 132 RBIs 2 years ago. Okay. 38 home runs, 100 RBIs last season. The power is always going to be there. Let's see if he can get back to hitting for a little bit more average, though. Erin Judge coming in after that. Obviously, very disappointed last year. Erin Judge, a guy who was a first-round pick in many leagues, didn't end up helping quite as much. Because he did only have 112 games, obviously with his injury last season, but 278 batting average with 27 home runs. It was going to be a little bit lower than what we saw the year before, but trust me, the kid in that stadium being protected by Giancarlo Stanton, all the upside in the world. Really like him this year. Chris Bryant, I've talked about him on the third base video as well. He retains outfield eligibility. This kid is going to bounce back too. JD Martinez coming in at number 4. Can't say more than great things about that investment that the Red Sox made last year. He's been just stellar since Detroit gave him that second chance after he was cut by Houston, and he's going to continue to do good things. Christian Yelich, number 3. I got a lot of heat prior to last season because at one point in time I told one of my best friends Christian Yelich is Mike Trout 2.0. And it just never came to fruition. And finally last season, he puts together just a fabulous year. Let's see what happens. I'm not saying he is Mike Trout. I was basically saying he's a light version of Mike Trout. Still love him, though. Mookie Betts and Mike Trout coming in at the next 2 spots. Betts at 2, Trout at 1. But honestly, these are your top 2 players. If you came to me and you said, Kyle, I took Betts at number 1 overall, great pick. Kyle, I took Trout at number 1 overall, great pick. It doesn't matter. They're both extremely great picks. Run with either of them. Doesn't matter. Whatever your gut tells you, go with, because they're both going to have amazing seasons here in 2019. Thanks again for tuning in to this outfield ranking and analysis episode. Make sure that you check out our Twitter accounts because we are giving away that signed Trey Turner baseball. So check out our Twitter accounts and enter for a chance to win that. Comment below with any questions that you have, and we'll make sure that we get to those right away. Follow me on Twitter at krich1532. Thanks for tuning in to this episode. Stay tuned for some more great content. We got a lot of great stuff coming out for fantasy baseball and fantasy football, NFL draft. So much going on here at the Fantasy Headliners. I can't fit it all in, but I'm too excited for all of it. Thanks again. Look forward to seeing everyone again soon. Have a great one.